Hi, I'm Ariane. We're book zealots, and I did a very first buddy read while being a booktuber with Alex, and Alex Black Reads. She's a much bigger channel than I am, so the fact that she had offered a buddy read, I snapped that up. Absolutely wanted to do a buddy read, and if you're interested in doing a buddy read, go ahead and contact me. So the book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot. You may have heard about this because I think 2 years ago, Oprah Winfrey did a movie, and she plays Henrietta's daughter, Deborah. So, about the book. Henrietta was born Loretta Pleasant, I believe. She grew up poor. Was a descendant of a plantation family, but I believe it was very small and not well organized, or in any case, it was the time period, and this was probably well after the Civil War. But Henrietta ended up marrying her cousin. I know, cringe. Her cousin, was David Lacks, known as Day, because, you know, they had an accent, and so it was very southern heavy drawl, and David sounded like Day, and they just call him Day. You know, if you're hot and humid and you just don't have enough energy to enunciate every single syllable, I guess that's what happens. David becomes Day. In any case, Henrietta knew there was something wrong with her, and she went to a doctor. She went to the Johns Hopkins free black section for a checkup, and the doctor said that she had cancer, cervical cancer. So when she left, she went and told her two best friends that she had cancer, but it was fine. It was okay. Everything would be good. Today's mentality would probably be like, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I got it. It's all good. However, it wasn't good. And when she had the tumor removed, the doctor gave her cells to another doctor who was a researcher. Now, this was back in 1951, and at that point in time, researchers could not get cells to survive longer than 24 hours. This man, George Guy, spelled G-E-Y, was not only able to keep the cells alive, they thrived. They multiplied within 24 hours. They were multiplying so fast, he was giving the cells away to anyone who was interested. Now, one of the things that he created was the tube shaker, which is still used today. I don't know what the
centrifuge
proper name is. I don't know what the proper name for it is, but her cells became known as Gila. First two letters of the first name, first two letters of the last name, Gila. And they were also tested, I believe it was 1953, they were tested for the polio vaccination. And then the polio vaccination was released and given to the children, etc. Now for the family. Henrietta Lacks had a first daughter who may or may not have been born mentally challenged. There is a thought that when the baby was born, she hit the ground and therefore became mentally challenged. Regardless, she was put into a hospital mental institution, and Henrietta visited her every week, but when she got sick, she couldn't, and no one else visited her. Given that, why didn't the husband, her cousin, the father of this child, go visit? We'll get back to him later. Henrietta also had 3 sons and another daughter. So I believe the other 2, sorry, I'm going to have to look this up real quick. One of the children, I believe the youngest, ended up changing his name. Okay, so we have Lawrence was the oldest, Sonny was the second, and Joe, I believe, was the third. And Joe was the one who ended up changing his name. Now, when Henrietta died, 2 people moved in with Day. One was a woman, well, first of all, the man and the woman that moved in were married. And the woman, I believe her name is Ethel, didn't like Henrietta. Now, didn't David know this day? Didn't David know that this woman, Ethel, didn't like Henrietta? I don't know. But these 2 people supposedly took care of the children while David worked. However, I think some hanky-panky on the side was going on between Day and Ethel. Ethel was extremely abusive to the children. Extremely abusive. And that was very hard to read. I am more angry at David Lax than I am the medical institution. I didn't see that coming when I started reading this book. Joe had a lot of anger issues, as you can well imagine. Now, that being said, when he became an adult, he's responsible for his actions. He started doing a lot of bad things, and he went to jail. And when he was in jail, he found a religion and changed his name. It is spelled Zakariya. Apparently the spelling, the pronunciation for this spelling is Zachariah. That is how this man said to pronounce his name, Zachariah. Now, Zachariah and Deborah were probably the closest to Rebecca Skloot in any information. And, you know, towards the end, I think they just kind of gave up about wanting any monetary supplements from...
Gain.
Pardon me?
Gain.
Well, exactly. Anything from the medical institution for their mother's cells. It's a very interesting ethical issue, because back in 1951, that didn't exist. However, now there's HIPAA and privacy issues that have been brought to the attention of the medical institution so that patients have more rights. The notes that Rebecca left in this book are so fascinating. I did a lot of research while I was reading this book, which is why it took me so long to read. It took about 2 weeks, I think, 2 weeks to read. Alex might know. Alex, did it take 2 weeks to read this book? In any case, a lot of scientists and a lot of doctors believe that patients should not have any rights to what one doctor calls bits and pieces. He believes that you should be willing to give whatever is needed for further research. But they're gaining off of your bits and pieces, profiting off of your bits and pieces, and oh, by the way, you're still paying for insurance if you can afford it. You're still paying for the doctor visit. You're still paying for the surgery to have these bits and pieces removed. So You let me know what you think about that little ethical issue. Anyways, this book, 4-star rating, highly recommend it. If you're interested in the history of this woman, if you're interested in the cells and I actually found that part more interesting, was the medical information and the notes at the very end of this. As you can see, I got a little tab, happy. And if you know what I do with my tabs, green is very fascinating information, not things that I disagreed with, but things that I wanted to look up later. And yeah, excellent, so good, highly recommend. And I got this book at the library probably for no more than $2. So I'm really glad that I got this. I will definitely be unhauling it, and I will be putting it in the free little free library in my town. So thank you very much for visiting. I hope you enjoyed this review, and let me know if you've read it or intend on reading it, or what your opinions are about the ethical issues for your bits and pieces. Thanks. Have a great day.